Good morning. Thrilled you're here. Glad it's a beautiful. If you don't know who I am, Rita Hickman, body, mind, and I help women who feel stuck in narcissistic or toxic relationships. I help them get their mojo back, get their head back, their heart back, their body back, their energy back. And I use Asian medicine to do it because that's my specialty in body-mind science. So it's not just a head game. It's not just, therapy or psychotherapy. It's actual physical work that we do and things that you put into your life that when you do them, if this, then that, it's actually very practical and pragmatic. That's my specialty, how to get yourself to a psychologist the other day. And we were talking about the message that's out there for most people, especially for most women, which is if you're in a narcissistic relationship, you need to do whatever you have to do. If you don't, run away. Now, I've been doing this for a long time. I've been working with people who have toxic relationships. I've been working with people who have childhood abuse, who physical, mental, and emotional challenges, feeling demised by narcissism. I've worked with people who have narcissistic tendencies, usually because of something like bipolar, borderline personality, health issues, PTSD, childhood trauma that they went through. And one of the things both my psychologist and I agree on very strongly is that one, a good friend, and they would about everything exists, every possibility, every probability, every connectivity, everything. If we can imagine it, somewhere in the quantum field, somewhere in this universe or some other universe, it exists. And so narcissism, many people like to think it's either or. It's you're either a nice person or you're a narcissist. And narcissism is really a whole spectrum of things. It's a self-preservation that people use and that doesn't even think about where other people are at. So all of us, every single person in us, unless let's say it's someone with who are far on the other side of the spectrum, all of us have a dose of narcissism. And self-preservation, survival, do what we have to do. I can't care about anybody else. You don't know what you're capable of doing unless you're actually in that situation. You're actually dealing with it one-on-one. And even then, how you deal with it the first time and then how you deal with it the second time or the third time or the fourth time is way different because you evolve and grow. So, the wisdom out there is, if you're in a relationship with a narcissist, you need to run away as fast as possible. And in reality, a lot of women aren't in a position to run away from a narcissist as fast as possible. They've been married for 20, 30 years. They've got a young child, the child of the narcissist that they're raising, and they don't have job skills. They have health issues. They have disabilities. We're compassionate. It's family. It's, you can name it. The number of reasons, really good reasons, why women aren't ready to just cut the cord with the narcissist and run screaming in the other direction and never allow them in again. One, because not all people who are behaving in a narcissistic way are true diagnosed narcissists. And they may have other mental health issues going on, depression or anxiety or a physical health issue going on that causes them to react that way. Only the person in the relationship can decide whether they're ready to stay or ready to go, whether someone has enough value to them or where someone is causing much more damage to their life than they need. It's wonderful to have all rainbows and unicorns and puppies and things like that. That's fabulous. However, we do live in a world where, we make choices, and sometimes being in this relationship is, we have to deal with some other things first. We have to work through some other issues first. Would it ultimately be in someone's best interests to get away from toxic relationships? Absolutely. Absolutely. Because there's a beautiful, amazing, big, pretty, fun, caring, compassionate, really rainbow-filled world that's out there. It really, truly is. And when you start putting things in place that help you enjoy it, that help you make the most of the life that you have, that's when you see it. You're not missing out on your life because of a narcissist. You're missing out on your life because you haven't quite figured out yet how to get the things that you need, and there are things that you need, absolutely, positively things that you need, in order to get to a place where you can enjoy life. And so it's most important that you work on getting the things that you need. And when you're in a safe place, when you have a little bit more flexibility and maneuverability, when you aren't just walking out one day because you can't take it anymore because that's what you're supposed to do, when you don't want to set yourself up to make your life more difficult than it needs to be. Just because you don't have a narcissist in your life doesn't mean that it's not going to be difficult. And in fact, for many women, divorcing a narcissist is the most difficult part of the relationship, because now there's no reason that a narcissist should treat them in any sort of kind manner. And in fact, they go above and beyond to make someone's life miserable. So, if you haven't left a narcissist or someone who has strong narcissistic tendencies, it doesn't mean that there's something wrong with you. It doesn't mean that you're a fool. It doesn't mean that that you're just, you're betraying yourself again and you're weak, and, it doesn't mean any of those things. This is a lot more complex. It's a lot more complex world than they make on. People give the simple answer of, just walk away as soon as you see it. Now, that's actually kind of good advice if you can catch it as soon as you see it. But many of them date them. Many of them are born to them. How many of you have narcissists who were parents, who were grandparents, And how many of us, how many of you, aren't ready to leave yet? Don't have the capability, can't even see your way out. So if you haven't left, if you haven't gone and created this magnificent life for yourself without any of these entanglements, if you've just jumped in the car, driven to Canada or Mexico or flown to Hawaii and changed your name, if you haven't done any of those things yet, it's okay. It's okay. Because there are many different reasons why people behave in narcissistic ways. Many different reasons. And some people, it's things that they want to change. They don't like who they are. They don't want to be that way, but they don't think there's any other way. That happens a lot. Maybe that's happening with you too. You don't like how you behave. You don't like how you're feeling. You don't like how you yell at your dog or your daughter or your son or your elderly parent. You might not like that when your narcissistic tendencies come out. One of the things that really got in the way for me was, because of the difficult situation that I'd grown up in, I had this thought in my mind. And the thought was, and it was buried pretty deep, and the thought was, I am never going to do anything that's even vaguely like the people who hurt me. I'm not going to be mean. I'm never going to say an unkind word. I'm always going to be generous. And I tried to do that for a long time. I lived as that perfect person for a long time. But the problem is you can't carry it off. That's how narcissists are created. We've got, those double lives. You've got the person that you want to be and how you really feel. Maybe you have anger management issues or rage, Or maybe you fall into a depression, or you feel so sick inside that you just can't move. And you're doing what you can, but it gets the best of you. You can't deny the fact that you're a human being struggling with issues. And we have to deal with those first. We have to deal with your struggles. We have to deal with your PTSD, your trauma, your support system, your healthy habits. We have to get your body back online. We have to get your mind back to respecting and loving yourself. You have to get your nervous system, working properly again. When you do that, when you're in a better place, when you're not being so narcissistic yourself, even if you're not expressing it, but you're feeling it, even if you're holding it back with every ounce of fiber that you have, and being the person you're supposed to be, you're still feeling it. And if you get a couple more, bricks on that load, you're going to snap. You have to start working on you, on the things that make you happy, that will put you in a good place. And only then are you ready. Are you ready? Does your mind clear? Do opportunities arrive? Does the path open up? So if you feel stuck, and maybe you've done tons of I've done tons of counseling already. I've done tons of counseling. I've been in therapy since I was 12. I've been on Prozac since I was 10. All sorts of things. All this stuff comes up. It's not about therapy. It's not about understanding, although that's an important part of it. It's not about only understanding how you got there. It's about also getting what you need, and also looking at all the different factors that keep you from getting what you need. So if you aren't ready to walk out the door with your stuff and move to Zimbabwe, that's okay. That's okay. You're not a fool. You're not an idiot. You aren't doing it wrong. Maybe you've been focusing on the wrong things. Because when you start to focus on you, when you start to focus on feeling good, on finding joy, on I have 5 pillars that we like to get in place. 5 pillars which are directly related to the 5 elements of Asian medicine, directly. And they talk about the outer world, and we talk about the inner world, and we talk where to start. And I teach you and you learn what you need to do to get those 5 pillars, which are actually at least 10 things, because they're the inner and the outer, the masculine and the feminine. When you get some of those things figured out and cleaned up, and it's a lot of fun. Oh my God, healing can be a lot of fun if you do it right. It doesn't have to be trauma and awfulness and, I have an appointment, I don't want to talk about this, and I'm still here. That's not what it's about. It's about finding joy in life and getting yourself to a place where you can enjoy joy, where you can enjoy your life. And when you move more towards that, when you've got that scaffolding in place, as my psychologist likes to say, when you've got the scaffolding in place, then you're able to make wise, good moves. But until you have that scaffolding, you can't do it. And yeah, I see a psychologist every week. I love her. She's one of my greatest support systems, and that's one of the pillars, to get a support system of healthy, functional, kind people, even if you have to pay them, even if they're in the industry and in the business. Even if that's the way you have to do, if you have to get a coach, if you have to, get a mentor, if you have to join a program, whatever it is. Sometimes that's the only place to find the healthiest people, because they can be in short supply. Let me tell you, they can be in short supply. So that's okay. It's about starting to have and create a support system so that you have the confidence to move forward. Because if you don't have those things in place, life becomes very hard. And then suddenly the narcissist is overreacting, and they're taking it out on you, and they're sending court orders. I mean, it gets all sort of crazy. It's crazy. Happy, wonderful place. And when you do, when you can think clearly, then you can look around and look at the people in your life and say, okay, are they worth having in my life or not? You get to decide from a place of power, not from a place of fear and protection. And until you get more to that place of power in yourself, unless it's violent, and domestic violence is definitely a wall for me. If it's domestic violence, if there's danger to children, things like that. That's a deal breaker. So keep that in mind. But look at it and say to yourself, all right, is this relationship worth it to me? Yes or no? Do they have enough value to me that I'm willing to help them through their issues? Do they have enough possibility and positivity that they might be able to work through it? Do they even recognize that they're struggling? You know, you take all those factors into place. And then it's a gamble. You take the risk. You're like, okay, do I take the risk and see if this works out, or do I take these other options and see how they work out? You have to get to the point where you don't feel trapped anymore. And when that happens, it means you won't make the same mistakes. And it means you'll do this movement, you'll change, you'll shift as gracefully and as gently and wonderfully as possible. Just like one of the cool women in my narcissism group, you know, who she reached out to her family, and her family showed up and helped her move out. I mean, how beautiful. And you have to get to that place where you have those connections and that inner health and the physical health and stuff like that first, okay? So if you haven't left yet, don't feel bad. Don't be mad at yourself. You know, it's part of a journey, part of a process. And as long as you keep working it, you're going to get there. Now, if you feel stuck, there's a narcissist book that I've partnered with. Lots of great information on what narcissism is. It's always good to know what's involved. I've got a narcissism small private group that I work with, Facebook group and one-on-one group. I can direct you to the link for that, or you can message me and we will send you an application and see if we're a good fit to work together, to coach together. But don't worry about money or time right now. Just, you know, if you want a little bit extra help, just make the appointment. I do charge like $100 for the call because we're able to come up with a really great strategy. But if we end up working together as part of a package, then it gets rolled into the package. It's no big deal. And we figure something out that works with you, with your time, with your finances, with your situation. You know, this isn't about throwing you into the deep end of the pool and saying good luck, you know, and then watching you flail. This is about coming up with something that works for everybody involved, okay? So don't let that hesitation stop you from reaching out to me. I think that's it. What should your homework assignment today be? It should be to tell yourself, I think you should set a timer, and I want you to tell yourself at least 5 times today how much you love yourself and how much you respect yourself, because that's one of the things you need to start doing, changing your thinking. Instead of, why did I do this again? I'm such a loser. Why do I bother? When you catch yourself saying things like that, I want you to pause, take a breath, and give yourself what you really need, which is that self-love and that self-respect, okay? So, it's Friday. Have a fabulous weekend. I look forward to seeing you on Monday. If you're in the McHenry, Illinois area, we've got a Rewrite Your Life workshop Monday night. It should be awesome. Great authors coming in. She's going to help women journal through and rewrite their life. So that they aren't stuck in the same narrative, the same story, and start to create something new, something that's really fantastic, okay? So if you're in the area, McHenry, Illinois, close to the Wisconsin border, Chicagoland area, we've got a class coming up Monday night. Should be a lot of fun, okay? So I'll talk to you later. Bye.